Welcome into Game Night Live Rewind. Dusty Litster and Dane Stewart, as always, brought to you by our friends at Heidemann and Associates.
Yeah, that's right. Just a reminder, Heidemann and Associates, a full-service law firm. If you have any legal needs, business, personal, want to set things up for posterity, they'll give you a free consultation. If you tell them Rewind sent you, call 801-754-4240.
And if you're nervous about it, Dane and I will even introduce you to Justin as well. We've done it for a bunch of people, actually. Get a little text group with Justin, get you in touch with him, and do a little introduction. So if you need that, let us know. We'll take care of that for you, too. And on that, 2022 is the year of you. We'll get more into WGU, but go to wgu.edu and get your chance to get a $2,500 scholarship.
You know, one other bonus, if you reach out to Heidemann Associates, you'll have Dusty's cell number. Then you can talk to him all the time about carbon and the Raiders and all sorts of stuff. So.
And how points are scored when whistles are blown. Yeah, we'd love having that conversation. We haven't had it tonight. We haven't had it tonight. All right, let's go. But we'll get into that just a little bit later. But hey, right off the top, biggest news of the week. If we're talking girls basketball here, how about Taya Sidbury? 40 points on the night. Usually be a big deal. She averages 35 on the year. But what's big is she passes Croman Hook for the all-time leading score title in the state of Utah's history.
Yeah, so she needed 40, scored 42. And I love the video when she scored that, the bench rushed to the floor. Where's the technical foul? I'm just teasing. Look, I love the
Do we care about the sanctity of the game or not?
If it's a foul in the first, look, you get the bell. I love the way that Judge celebrated that, and it's worth celebrating. You know, we've talked about that for a couple weeks. We've been kind of tracking that for you at home, her progress towards that, and absolutely fantastic moment. Look, this isn't Judge Red, but it's an attempt. It's not a Judge Bulldog, although it'd be sweet if it was, because I love that logo. I have no idea what it is. Anyway, congratulations to Taya Sidbury. The thing that really respect her game, it's obviously the scoring that's going to sit with her for a long time, right? That is going to be not touched for a while. Yeah. But you look at what else she does, the way that she executes in their full course press. She had 2 triple doubles in the span of a week. That's points, rebounds, and steals. So I love the versatility to her game. She plays hard. It's all effort, 100%. And when you interview her, when we've interviewed her, just really humble, down to earth, great kid. And so, Taya, congratulations for all the hard work and accomplishment over the years. And this Judge team's still undefeated, but man, so awesome to see a record that's held for so long. Yeah. And she's going to follow in Croman Hook's footsteps up to the hill at the U. But man, best wishes. But man, a great moment on senior night to be able to do that for Judge. Congratulations, Taya.
Yeah, and not only that, 4-year starter. She scored more points as she's gone along. And the one thing she wants outside of her 3A Player of the Year award from us is to get that elusive state championship. So best of luck to she and the Judge Memorial Bulldogs.
One other record that she set that didn't quite get the publicity, single game. Scored 56 points in a win over Providence Hall just a couple of weeks ago. Had 16 rebounds, 12 steals. That's one of the triple doubles.
Was it 12 steals?
So 12 steals, yeah. So anyway, multiple records for Taya.
Yeah, congratulations to Taya Sidbury. Pretty sure we're going to be talking to her in the postseason award show.
Yeah.
But,
spoiler alert. There you go.
All right, let's get to our main topic brought to you by Western Governors University. Again, make 2022 the year of you. Get it done at your own pace, Dane.
Yeah, look, I've had a lot of colleagues go through Western Governors University, and that pace is so critical, right? You can kind of go as you need. Also have the ability to test out of courses, and because you can go at your own pace, there's a great opportunity to save some of the costs that sometimes adds up with college education. And so to learn more, visit wgu.edu. And even if that cost is an issue, $2,500 scholarships available. So a lot of ways that you can kind of help pay for that college through your own timing. It's a great option for people.
You know, it's interesting. We're about, 3 weeks away from the state tournament. And Dane and I will be there 5A and 6A all the way from the University of Utah. And we'll travel down south to the school down south at BYU and the Marriott Center. It'll be a lot of fun for championship day. But it can be a lot of fun to talk about it. But what we want to do is talk about the top teams. We'll get to other players as well. But 6A, Dane, we'll start there first. 6A classification, I mean, the reigning state champions, the Fremont Silver Wolves, well, they've dipped a little bit. They're 17-2. I'm teasing. They're 8-0 in region play thus far. I mean, they continue to look like the 6A champion favorite.
They do. Depends on how you want to define favorite. I mean, if we were going on playoff sleepers, I would pick Fremont. They're not ranked number 1. So go check out our boys video last week. yeah, you look at Mendelson, you look at Gardner. First, congratulations to Mia Gardner, McDonald's All-American.
Yes.
What a recognition and award there. I think just the second in state history.
In Williams.
Yeah,
Natalie Williams.
yeah. And so a huge accomplishment for Tamia. If you haven't had a chance, go out and watch Fremont basketball. I mean, you've got a level of play there, and you can argue last year maybe it had even more, right? Emma was still there, but you don't get to see very frequently in the state of Utah. So anyway, go catch out Fremont. But, their only losses coming out of state, they've been dominant. Played Davis in the first round of region play. I think they had 11-1 first quarter in that one. They came out and absolutely, sent notice. Won that game, I think, 55-37. Expect them to kind of roll through region play. I think the question is, who does match up with them, if anyone, in 6A? Lone Peak, the number one team in the state right now, undefeated in 6A in the RPI. So who is that? Yeah, and so who is that team? And I think that's where the conversation starts to go quiet, because I don't know if there is one.
Well, that's really tough because and we talk about size. And it's what they've had. We had Emma Calvert, and then you had her and Tamia, and then you had Maggie was a freshman. But now last year Tamia's out with the knee, and it was Maggie, and it was Emma, and now you got Tamia and Maggie, and it's just. Yeah. And then you have guards that sit on the outside and are just spotting up for threes, and then you have one of the best coaches in the state's women's history sitting on the sideline.
And the versatility is what I think really makes this lineup difficult, right? I mean, Maggie doesn't have to play 4 feet from the rim. Tamia doesn't have to live 6 feet from the rim. That they can step outside. They can hit jumpers. It's why they get the accolades they do. And while Mendelson is not a McDonald's All-American, she has played with the national team, so she's pretty talented too, right? Like this is a good roster, a lot of talent, a lot of depth to it, and it's going to be a tough bunch.
That's going to be very interesting. You look at Region 1. I mean, nobody talked about this. You mentioned Davis. Their one loss in Region play is to Fremont per the last few years. But Mabry continues to be one of the leading scorers at 12 points per game. Syracuse 6-2, and it's just interesting where that one will go as we sort things out. But when you look at again the top of it, just want to give some love. Cypress 8-0.
Yep.
Who's more impressive, Cypress boys, Cypress girls? Well, the boys got the first leg of the Diet Coke, Diet Dr. Pepper challenge. But
I'll accept that in 44-ounce quantities. So
we'll get that taken care of. Cypress 8-0 in Region 2. We'll see where their threat comes. But then you look at Region 3, it just as you think it would. Riverton, Bingham, and Harriman. Yeah. No love lost trio.
And I'll tell you right now, they're all beating each other, Dusty. Riverton beats Harriman. I think they were top 3 at that point. Riverton got a 2-point win, 37-35. Then you turn around, Bingham defeats Riverton 58-53. That was a big win for Bingham because it felt like to me in the non-region, Bingham was trying to kind of get the cohesiveness back, right? Like it was taking a couple games there. They're in region play, and it's working right now for Bingham. Had a nice win over Harriman, 55-49. And so this Bingham team, you talk about Lichty and company, they are getting it sorted out. And so for me, the back half of region play in Region 3, especially at the top, is going to be really interesting. Bingham on the charge up, Riverton, Harriman kind of trying to keep holding on to that. 3 really good teams. We haven't even talked about Copper Hills. Mountain Ridge was really good outside of region. They've struggled in region because that region is so talented. But Bingham, Riverton, Harriman all kind of fighting for that top position. It's going to be a fun finish.
Yeah, Sierra Lichty, the third leading scorer in 6A at 17.5 points. Not too shabby, as Adam Sandler might say. So just a lot of fun to watch where we will see that continue to grow within there. And then Lone Peak, undefeated on the year. They're 6-0 in region play. They're 15-0 overall. And just saw them start their second half of region play today. And, Kaylee Woolston, for all rights, is who we should talk about. Right? Yeah. But you have so many good players around her now. Ahine and Shawnee Nordstrom, who was formerly at Bingham as well. And then amongst others, Tanuvasa, Naya Tanuvasa, And then, Michaela Ika, she's really good too.
And we haven't even started talking about the post. Bartholomew underneath, a youngster, but man, good size. I mean, this is a balanced Lone Peak lineup. The interesting thing to me is while they are undefeated, they've had a grit out. I mean, a 54-53 win, I think, against Corner Canyon, 1-point win. Westlake, that was a one-possession game. 50-47.
Something like that.
I mean, Skyridge was a close contest. Like, they've had some that, look, they are undefeated. You tip the cap to it, but there have been some close battles. And so, Skyridge, that game is coming up this next week. That's going to be pivotal. That Westlake's going to want their second opportunity at them. There are some matchups that it will be interesting to see if Coach Warner continue to guide this team to an undefeated season. I was asked the question today, if you were Coach Warner, would you want it? I'd say no. but I'm not going to coach to get a loss, right? Like I'm going to go. You play to win the game, so I'm going to go out and play. But I think there's a whole lot of added pressure, especially when everyone thinks Fremont is the number one team, the team to beat, to have to then handle undefeated pressure with that. Adds an element I probably wouldn't love, but it's the situation they're in. They've won every game they played.
Somewhere there's a coach saying, Dusty always asks, is a loss good because it gets rid of the stink that lies underneath? And then there's Vince
Francis. A new analogy coming to an arena near you.
So. Vince Francis reminds me of a team that started 6-0 and then missed the playoffs in football some years ago. So sometimes that loss could be the thing that is just you're undoing. But yeah, sometimes that loss can help, the things you keep bringing up. No one smells them until then. So...
While we're in Region 4, let's talk about a couple players.
Of course, yeah.
How about Cambry Blackham? Great year for Skyridge, guard position. I saw their guards absolutely get Westlake frustrated. That's a good Westlake team. They were undefeated outside of Region 4 play. You can talk about Tegan Gray. Toole shoots the ball really well. Gottberg in the post plays really solid. And that Westlake team, Tessa Cheney, I think is a post that deserves to be talked about. Really good. Jill Lundgren can stroke the ball, shoots it very well as well. Hedrick does a lot of things for Westlake. We talked about Lone Peak quite a bit already. But man, when you look at this region, there's so many good players down there. Just wanted to take a moment and call out Skyridge, Westlake teams that are in a battle for second right now.
Yeah, and how about Corner Canyon? Newton broke the school scoring record. Pretty good for a girl that plays at a school that for a couple of years had Kimmy Martine.
I hear she's decent. Okay.
And Jaden Viafanua played for 4 years.
Yeah.
And Newton has now played for 4 years and broken all the records. Congratulations to her. And by the way, Amelia Etcherkamp, make sure we don't miss her. 17.4 points per game, the fourth leading scorer, 6A, there with the Cypress Pirates. Now, Cue Ball Mays is not the only one who knows how to score for the Cypress Pirates. But
they had a big win over Taylorsville. Just to give Region 2 some love. I got to carry the Region 2 weight around here, right? They were the top two teams. Cypress was down at half, had a big second half. Come back, get a nice win there as it was Ector Camp, to your point, 25 points in that one.
She's been the Pirate putting the wind in the sails, if you will. But went and saw a Pirate play last week. Kind of still stuck. All right, let's talk about 5A a little bit more. So 5A is interesting. So Bountiful, man, this feels like we're rolling back some of the years here.
Yeah.
Bountiful 6-0 in region play, and within 5A, you normally would say, okay, they're there. Now you run. Look, it feels like everybody has got at the top of your regions has a shot at the 5A state championship.
Well, maybe.
No?
I heard some news tonight. Oh. I didn't tell you this ahead of time, Dusty. I got to keep something fresh, right?
Always.
So potential injury at Skyline. I've heard NGK might be out. Obviously, don't want to spread rumors. Certainly hope that's not true. Had not been in the box score the last couple games. If she is hurt, hope for a quick recovery.
Yeah.
That could be a big game changer. That said, Skyline, have not seen a score reported tonight. It's Friday night. They have gone 2-0 without her, and so it is a team game, right? And it's next man up. Got to find that replacement. But one of the top scorers in that region. I think status may be unknown a little bit, and that could certainly change things for Skyline.
Yeah, Tina and GK averaging 16 points per game would be really, really big. And, we talk about her and Taylor Harvey at Bountiful, also 16 points per game, really big to have her on the floor. But then you look at, Olympus had been part of this conversation for us, and ended up a couple losses changes everything because sometimes it just gets you right. You can figure things out. 6-2, been very interesting. But watch Highland at 5-2 as well, and that's a team that has a championship pedigree. Yeah. At Highland.
Yeah, I mean, you look at those two losses for Olympus. One loss was to Skyline. The other loss to Highland. Olympus got the better end of Highland just this last week. Blank went for 18-10, 63-52 win for the Titans in that one. Mary Sheets is a player that's been coming along. Topham as well. Baker. There's a lot of options there. And when things are gelling for Olympus, they've got a really complete roster. I think one of the things that you alluded to, there are a lot of teams in 5A that will compete for a state championship. And when you look at this region, Olympus, Highland, Skyline are those teams, right? And then you even look at like a Murray. There are other teams in that region too that can beat you on a given night. Brighton has some ability to score as well. And so it's an interesting region. There's a lot of depth there. But yeah, I mean, who's going to have the roster kind of gelling at the right time come state tournament in a couple weeks. And those are, I think, the three teams that most people expect.
Before we get to my favorite region within 5A, which we always talk about, how about a surprise team, 8-0 in region play? the Cedar Valley Aviators.
Yeah.
And not only that, how about Naomi Nicholson leads 5A in three-pointers made. 51 threes on the year, averaging 2.5 a game. Give some love to the Aviators. Very, very impressive to see such a young school right now. This could be a very fun year for Cedar Valley.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think first year of a lot of those Region 7 teams being in 5A, some people have wondered about that. Great start for them. And, you know, it's not just region play. They're 16-3, I think, 16-4. So, you know, 8-0 in region play. That means they were 8-4 outside of it, right? So this is a team that's been competitive even outside of Region 7. We talk about how wide open this 5A classification is. How awesome would it be if Cedar Valley put the run together, right? Yeah. And when you look at it, I think it's a team that, why not? I mean, you battled with Mountain Ridge. We talked about that Mountain Ridge team. They were so strong outside of region. That was a one-possession game that they lost. They beat American Fork. They beat West Jordan. Like, this Cedar Valley team has some nice wins to it. And so it's one where, you know, if you're gelling at the right time and you get hot, I mean, we saw Region 7 teams in football make a big run. No reason why they couldn't do it in basketball.
And now Region 8, feels really weird to not say it's Region 7, but Region 8.
Yeah.
How about this triumvirate, if you will? Well, Timpview and Lehigh, old hat, fine.
Yeah.
And then newcomers. The Jordan beat Digger 7-2 as well, the top of Region 8.
Yeah, boy, there's a whole lot here, right? So Jordan kind of had the early track. Timpview had an early loss in region play, and then they've been trying to make up ground. Lehigh's had kind of some surprising losses. Lost to Timpview in a close one. Had a bit of a surprising loss again later in the region play. Jordan was kind of left there like, hey, look at us. And now Timpview and Lehigh starting to make a strong surge. Timpview got the best of Jordan in a game a couple of weeks ago, beat Timpanogos as well. That's another team that I think flying under the radar. Summer Christensen for Timpanogos. She can do anything she wants at any time. Yeah. Very crafty defensively, good scorer, can shoot the ball well. This Jordan team feels like they shoot a lot of threes, which if you're on, look out. And Timpanogos shoots a lot of threes. Talking with them, said, hey, we're on pace to be top 10 in state history in three-point shots made and three-point tries attempted. You look at Timpview, they got inside play. They got outside guard play with Aston. And I'll tell you, Hansen, probably one of the better three-point shooters in the state. Katie Hansen, she can be dynamic for Timpview. And then you look at Lehigh and Jamison Heaton, what she can do inside Macy Wall. There's a lot of really good teams in Region 7. And you look at a team like Orem and Gabby Gu, it feels like she scores double figures every night for Orem. And so Region 8, it's got a lot of good teams, man. It is a deep, deep region. And, you know, interesting note, last week of the year could have a region championship. Timpview, Lehigh, that game slated for, I think, that Wednesday of that last week. Could be a Region 8 championship.
And a rematch of a playoff game from last year as well. That was a blast. It was a little fun one. But Fui Niu Maitolu is one of the leading scorers in 5A, 13 points per game. They're out of Jordan.
And I'll tell you, when she's on. She had a game this last week where I think she hit 6 threes. So, and she's a youngster, if I recall. I want to say a sophomore. I might be wrong on that. I think she is a youngster, though.
You know, so I talk about Region 8. How about Region 9? Region 9 people are yelling at the screen. Who are the reigning state champions? Well, the Springville Red Devils. You think I would leave this part and not make sure we give love to Springville after some of the runs and the fun we had, Dee and others?
Yeah.
Not happening. But how about Springville? 5-0 in region play, but I mean, Maple Mountain's right on their heels and Salem Hills at 4-2. But Springville, this is a team we knew was going to be very good. They might have lost a lot of talent from last year, Dee and Johnson and others, but they just got such a great Coach Avery does such a great job. Terrific culture there with Springville. Yeah,
they returned some great talent too, right? Esplin back. Remember, she's that pesky guard.
Terrific. Yeah, terrific defender. Yeah, her hands on the ball. I mean, in region play thus far.
Yep.
5 games, 168 points is all they've given up. But this is a team that's only given 625 on the year. I mean, so they're not surrendering a ton of points.
Yeah.
You know they're going to play defense. They're going to slow things up. That's in 17 games. It's really good. They've done a nice job there.
They have. And, you know, along with Esplin, how about Brooke Pennington? One of the top scorers for them this year. I was talking with the coach today, and she said, I think that's probably the best player in that region is Brooke Pennington. What a year she's had. A nice 21-point game, 7 rebounds, and a win over Salem Hills. You look at Maple Mountain, Dusty, a team that struggled in their non-region play. They're 4-1 coming into games tonight. So great turnaround there from Maple Mountain. They had a nice win over Spanish Fork. Sheridan Liggett, one of the players you got to keep an eye on. She had 37 points in that one. 4 threes, 9 rebounds, 37 points. There's some good players. And we talked about Pennington being one of the best players in that region, as a coach had told us There's some talent.
There's some talent. Hey, by the way, that 625 points against, best in 5A. That's why I wanted to bring it up. They got bountiful by 8 points going at the end of the day. As far as scores are reported, anyway. Yeah. I almost went with the Forrest Gump thing, but I decided not to. At the last minute, I hit the ejection button. Might work it in later. But 5A is going to be a blast as well. The reason we spend some time there, Dane and I will be there from Huntsman Center down to the Marriott Center. What a fun trek after semifinal Friday. Go make the little move down to BYU.
Yeah.
But we'll be part of the friendly confines of the Marriott Center. Be a lot of fun. All right, so you can watch right here on KSLSports.com. Now into 4A. Feels like it's last year. How about Desert Hills? 10-0, the top of Region 10.
Yeah, it's been an impressive year for Desert Hills. You look at what they've been able to do, Dusty. That Region 10 is tough, right? You look at the last couple of years. You've had Desert Hills, you've had Pineview, you've had a lot of competition. Desert Hills right now they're beating teams and taking names. I think it's like a 4-game difference between first and second right now. It's a pretty lopsided region right now, and Desert Hills playing really good basketball. I want to say that they had a non-region game against Ridgeline. If I recall, I think it was like 38-36. I think it was a low-scoring affair that Ridgeline got them. But I think those are probably the two best teams in the state. There are some other teams up in Region 11 that are, hey, what about us? We'll get there. But those look to be the two best through this point. Desert Hills has been flying through region play.
Yeah, Desert Hill 14-4 on the year, but 10-0 in region. Snow Canyon there at 5-2.
Yeah.
We know they're good. But there's unfinished business, at least for the feeling of Desert Hills, the loss last year to Skyview in the state championship game, Bundy and others. But you talk about Region 11. All right, Dan, you got to go there.
Yeah.
Ridgeline, Skyview. This is an interesting region because Ridgeline now 7-0 on the region season. Then Mountain Crest, and then you look at Skyview and Green Canyon, they're at 4-3.
Yeah, first of all, hi from Cache Valley. They wanted me to tell you hi. Yeah, there's a lot of good basketball up north, Dusty. And the crazy thing is, you look at it, I don't even know where to start. We'll start with Ridgeline. Best player on the roster is a freshman guard. That's maybe where you start. So I was talking with Skyview before the game, and Coach Vanessa Hall won the state championship last year with Skyview. She said, just when I feel like Ridgeline graduates and I finally have a shot, they bring in a freshman. And that's kind of the story right now with Ridgeline. This is a young group. It's all sophomores. They got a freshman. They got a couple of juniors. They don't have a senior on the roster. This is a young group. They're 19-1 now. They've not lost a game in the state of Utah. They took care of Skyview in a game that was close, pulled away in the fourth quarter. This Ridgeline team, Emily Skinner, leads the headline most weeks in points. She's the freshman. You look at a player like Livingston, who I think does a lot of gritty work, defensively, rebounding, is a very good defender as well. She's second on the team in scoring, I think with 12 a game. There's a lot of pieces here for Coach Jenks. And look, they've played really strong non-region, in-region as well. I don't know if there's a team to beat them. I think Skyview is probably that team that had the opportunity. Mm-hmm. They fell short in the second matchup, so the sweep goes to Ridgeline. It'll be interesting. You look at a team like a Green Canyon. There are some other teams in that region that can compete. But, man, it has been Ridgeline's world this year. And the question is there anyone in the state of Utah that can beat them in 4A? Yeah,
it'll be interesting. Could they get it out of their own region? Remember, 4A is just two regions. Yeah. So it's either St. George or there. And my rule of thumb, when it comes to physical sport, tends to go to Cache Valley.
That's a relatively new rule. We've had to learn that the last couple of years.
Year.
Yeah.
But my rule of thumb, what do I always say?
Look, I get it. I've heard it. I'll tell you a couple of other players just to keep an eye on up there in Region 11. Man, I still want to say. Anyway.
Region 10,
yeah. Mountain Crest had a nice win over Green Canyon. You look at a player like Caven Brown, 22 points and win over Green Canyon. Talk about that Green Canyon team. They got some nice pieces. You look at Tensmeyer. She can score the rock. McKenna as well. Marin McKenna, one of the top scorers in that region as well. So there's a lot of good pieces on some of those teams up there and what could make them be positioned for a nice run in the state tournament.
Yeah, very interesting. So 4A will be fun, and of course that'll be covered, and you'll be able to watch that on KSLSports.com when we get to the state tournament. And then we look at 3A, and I'd love to be able to talk about my Carbon Dinos.
What happened, man?
Cami Carlson's on her first year back. Ted Bianco had been there for BINCOs, now Juan Diego, but Cami Carlson she won a state championship with Carbon. She led him to a couple of state championship appearances. She's got to get him back, but it's not going very well. But Richfield and Emory, I just talked about Emory girls basketball.
Yeah.
are sitting there at the top, playing really, really good basketball. But within 3A, Dane, is there someone else outside of Morgan Grantsville to keep your eyes on?
There's a couple. How about Morgan, Layton Christian, and Grantsville? It's kind of flipping the coin right now between those three. It feels familiar, right? I mean, football, we talked about how tight that region was. Boys basketball, that region is really tight. It's tight in girls basketball, too. Morgan had a big overtime win over Grantsville. Grantsville was kind of that team leading the charge, and here come the Trojans. Birkeland went for 24 points, 4 threes, and 8 rebounds in the win. Trussell had 18 and 17 in the game to get the big win for Morgan. Morgan also got a nice win over Layton Christian, and all of a sudden the Morgan Trojans, defending state champs, right, made that run last year. Here they come, man. Trojans, It was a tough start to the year for them, but, man, region play right now, things are firing from Morgan, and this looks like a really, really strong team. Birkeland went for 25 points, 7 threes in the win over Layton Christian. Blazard had 16. Morgan right now, this is a team that's playing really good basketball.
Yeah, played really good, and then be able to come back on this year. And then here's a fun story, right?
By the way, Judge. You might want to keep an eye on Judge in 3A, too.
Just might.
Maybe.
We can get them in just a minute, but yeah. I was doing it was called a teaser, a tee up. But how about Region 14? I mean, this is a region that's had a tough year. I mean, the teams overall all below 500. But how about Union? They're 8-12 in the year, but man, they're getting region play. They're 5-1, playing good basketball within region play. But it'll be very, very tough. When you talk about Region 15, I mean, it's Judge and Summit Academy. But I think Judge has a pretty good player in Taya Sidbury. You got to look out for Sub Academy. I mean, they're 14-5 in the year, 5-1 in region play. But, you got Flores and Hamblin both averaging 13 points per game, then DeWitt with 11. Could have something to say as well. Just want to make sure, we always give Curtis Condi some love on this show because we've known him for a while. But make sure we give the girls some love there, too. All right, 2A. Give me a couple of teams we got to make sure we're looking out for in 2A. We know North Summit is one of them.
North Summit is one of them. I think that's been a team that's had to battle through some things this year. They got a nice win over Millard for the top of Region 16. They've now in a 2-way tie with the Eagles in that region. You look at Chesley Langston, Heartland Richens. There's a lot of pieces, some young talent there for North Summit that you got to be ready when you play them. You just never quite know what you're going to get. Let me give you another one. North Sevier got a win over Millard as well. That Millard team, Dusty, they were off to really good early season success. They've had a couple of surprising region losses. I don't want to overstate that a little bit, but games that I probably thought they would be favored in. I think that Millard team is still dangerous. Still got to keep an eye out for them, but have been shown that they're not immune to being defeated, and some teams can step up and match up with them. So I do think 2A is going to be fun. Draper APA right now, that is a team that is putting up a lot of points. If you like offense, go check out Draper APA. How about, I think it was an 80-37 win over Roland Hall, and that was kind of the last opportunity for Roland Hall to fight for a Region 17 championship, and Draper APA took care of business. Cartron had 27 in that one. Danquah had 18. Draper APA right now, the Eagles, my goodness, man, they know how to score. They're
scoring, and that gym saw a lot of points this summer. So just picking up right where I left off. Yeah. And then 1A, it feels like it's Paiute's world, and everybody else is living in it. Am I right?
Yeah, I think Paiute is the favorite, right? I think if there's another team, Panguitch might be that team, but Paiute beat them in the head-to-head. They're 2-0 against Panguitch this year. It is, my opinion, it is Paiute. One of the things we do know, we would have said it was Judge last year in 3A, so you just never quite know.
Or every year was Fremont until last year.
For
3 years.
But for me, I think Paiute is the team. Cassidy Westwood's had a really good year for the T-Birds. And, I think that is the team to beat in 1A.
If there's other teams you make sure we hit, please let us know. We'd love to hear from you. We'll make sure we get the girls some, get love as we're getting ready for the state tournaments. Again, your online home is right here at KSLSports.com. Again, congratulations to Taya Sidbury, the all-time leading scorer in Utah basketball history. For Vince Francis and Dane Stewart, I'm Dusty Litster. Thanks for joining us and for watching Game Night Live Rewind, brought to you by Heidemann Associates and Western Governors University.